O te tohunga matakite nei, ko papahurihia, ko te atuawera. Nā mai matakite I mua I te unga mai, o te tiriti o Waitangi, ki mua ki tō tātou hinua. I nā hoki rā te kupua te matua, ko te tai toke rau me te tai rāwhiti, taku māmā me taku pāpā. E hake te tikanga o te rā kōrero anu. I haere māroto ke mai te tai toke rau me te tai rāwhiti, te paipera tapu me te tiriti o Waitangi. Ka pāorora, ka pāho, ki ngā tōpito e whā o te motu. Tēnā, ke kapukau ake au I te kōrero, a te ruki kauiti, I neina, e te iwi, I te pakanga hau ki te atua I ngā pō nei. He hoi ki hai au I mate. Nō reira takahia te riri ki raro I o koutou wai, e pō ai Pākehā koutou āmuri nei. Wai hoke a kakati te namu, I te whārangi o te pukapuka. Hei reira, katahuri atu ai. Kei takahia e koutou ngā papapauna mua o koutou mātua tupuna. Titiru atu ki ngā taumata o te moana. O tātou pakeke, o tātou kaumātua, he whakaaro wairua. Hei tānga manawa mō rātou. I aru rātou I au a kupu tohu. Pēnei tēnei ko te au te hanga puaki. Takahia te riri ki raro I au koutou wai, e pō ai Pākehā koutou āmuri nei. Nā, e kororake na te kaumātuana, e o pō ai Pākehā tātou. Engari wai hoki a kakati te namu I te whārangi o te pukapuka. Hei nei na katahuri atu ai. Nā e tatari ana tātou, kei hea taua namura. Mana e tikaro. I taua whārangi rao te pukapuka, katahuri atu ai kia tātou, katahuri mai ai kia tātou. Te kupu tuaru te kupu Aperahama tāui, e ngā rangatira o ngā puhi, kau e awhia tō koutou tāma te tiriti o Waitangi. Engari, ke awhia noki tō koutou ake kahu, te kahu o te iwi māu. Nā konaka hea ngā puhi me tana tiriti o Waitangi, ka aputa te kupu, Aperahama tāunu. He manu pi tonga e rere ana I te takiwa e tangi aki ana, patotoi. He kore mārama mō ngā puhi ki te kauenata tapu, te papapauna miroto I te tiriti o Waitangi. Tae hoake he tamaiti kei te haere mai. E rua ana pukapuka. O te paipera tapu me te tiriti o Waitangi, whakarongo ki aia. Whana, I know it's getting on late and I just want to encourage us just for a moment, just to bear with me because I know I want to go for a cup of tea. Kia ora rahi. But for those of us, there are some of us who are very deep and steeped in these corridors, and for some of us, it may be a new experience for us. So I have to be mindful and considerate for everybody. I'll take the opportunity now to speak English because I may not speak English. But I won't grieve you too long because I just gave two examples. And there are two beautiful, wonderful, splendid things that this maramatanga was born out of. Prophecies and healing. And if we've lost our way, we've got to come back to prophecies and healing. I just gave two examples, and there are many, many, many more prophecies and prophets throughout the country. That we are encouraged, and the Hareruia have been caretakers of these prophecies. That's another thing, whether we have taught it and shared it and brought it down to the next generation. That's one of the challenges we have today in our present generation. But the prophecies were more than just words. They sustained our people's spirits and hearts in a very difficult time in our history. We survived the land wars. We survived a lot of pain, a lot of racial discrimination against our people, and poverty. And yet it was these prophecies that sustained our people and fed them and gave them hope in a time where they were losing hope and living in a deep despair. I'll only speak on two of these prophecies of the north that's well known. That's Aperahama Taunui and Te Ruki Kawiti. Now Aperahama Taunui and Te Ruki Kawiti were both students of a prophet in Tohunga Matakite who foresaw the coming of the Treaty of Waitangi by the name of Papahurihia and Atuawera. And both Te Ruki Kawiti and Aperahama Taunui were students from him. So we have a prophet history all the way down through the history of our people that we should be remembering. And I would hope to encourage us to continue to remember. Te Ruki Kawiti said, "My illustrious people, I fought with God last night, just like how Jacob had fought with the angel, and the angel gave him the name Israel. My illustrious people, I fought with God last night, but I was not overcome, neither have I died, and never will I perish. Therefore I call unto you to trample anger and war beneath your feet." Because this was the time of Ngāpuhi running around and the land bulls and the crowd, because the Hone Heke hadn't chopped this land down. And Te Ruki Kawiti and all of Ngāpuhi were going around with their armies fighting the colonials. But God came to him. And the angel came to him and said, "Put anger and war beneath your feet. You are all going to become Pōwai Pākehā." And when he meant that Pōwai Pākehā, he said this is the little boy on the ship, like the little tono, like the cabin boy, the Pōwai Pākehā. That's what Pōwai Pākehā means, the little cabin boy. So you, the Māori, are going to become like the poor cabin boy. Oh well, that's where we are today, and it's still happening. Prophecy. E Pōwai Pākehā koutou a muri nei. You will all become like the cabin boy soon in the future. Wai hoki a kakati te namu I te whārami o te pukapuka. Hei nei na katahuri atu ai. Then he said, "But you must be patient and wait until the sandfly nips the page of the sacred document. Then and only then will everything be revealed to you." In case you trample on the sacred covenant, the sacred promise inside the Treaty of Waitangi, the peace pact. Now these were deeply spiritual people who understood the Treaty of Waitangi and its deep significance. I'll just quickly rush along to Aperahama Taunui because I can hear that kettle in the kitchen. Aperahama Taunui said, "There's a small little tiny bird flying around the motu, calling out, chirping, 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 patatoi, 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 calling out, Ngāpuhi do not understand the significance and the depth of the Treaty of Waitangi." That was his challenge. Ngāpuhi, to Ngāpuhi, Aperahama Taunui challenged Ngāpuhi. They wanted to kick him out. Then he said, "But that's okay. Do not cover your treaty with the flag of England, but rather cover it with your own flag, with your own cloak, the cloak of the iwi Māori." But they chose not to listen. Then he said, "That's okay. Ngāpuhi, in your confederation and your house will become occupied by spiders and cobwebs." In other words, your united confederation of Ngāpuhi is going to snap and break. And it's going to become divided. And the house of the confederation of Ngāpuhi is going to become a house. What happens with a house with spiders and cobwebs? No one's living in it anymore. People have forgotten. People are not interested in it anymore. Then he said, "But there shall rise up a young child who will come bearing in his right hand the Holy Bible and in his left hand the Treaty of Waitangi. Listen carefully to him." That's why the whole of Ngāpuhi and the whole of Taitokerau when the dad came, all converted and all followed. Not because of just the dad, but because their tupuna had spoken about it. Now I'll just conclude for tomorrow. And perhaps tomorrow we'll have an opportunity to maybe address some of the kaupapa that's been talked about. I have no fear in the TPPA. I have no fear in what the Crown and what the government is doing. Why? Because if we follow the prophecies of the Marae, as our tupuna had followed the prophecies of our porupiti, we have no fear. The question is, how many of us today remember the prophecies of the Marae and Piriwiri Tua? Now, I'm not about to challenge ngā kaumātua here, because they're mōhio ana. Wakai kona ia he whakamahara. I'm just here just to remind us there. So in conclusion, tomorrow, it is a wonderful opportunity for us to revisit these places, to feel those places. Matua, Mohi, you've been to these places that the Matua have been to, and it's great to have your generation still here with us. Now that's a blessing, Matua, that you're still here with us. To have you here as witnesses, not only to the prophecies, but to as the Taitokera movie tomorrow, and to go to these places. But just quickly, 1927 in my conclusion, 1927 and 1928 the dad came here. He came here in June 1927 with 4 people only, because he wanted to get around quickly around the Taitokera. That was the dad, Rewiti Te Whena, Paraire Paikea, Tahi o Pipiri Moerua. Now Rewiti Te Whena, he was a well-grounded kaumātua from Raukawa, who knew all the prophecies of the old people. And as they went around on the Marae, the dad would get Rewiti Te Whena to stand up and recite all the prophecies, whichever Marae they went to. He was also a knowledgeable man deep in whakapapa and the genealogy. But never did he place himself above anyone else in that knowledge, because he knew te tino rangatiratanga ko iho ngā mana. We all know Paraire Paikea that the dad had anointed and appointed to be Piriwiri Tua. And we also know Tahi o Pipiri Moerua. He was a well-known Māori land court lawyer who had fought for a lot of Ngāti Maniapoto's land to be returned. Apira Nangata tried to buy him out so that he couldn't help the dad, and wanted to employ him inside the Māori affairs so that he couldn't help the dad with his kaupapa. Anyway, the dad came up here, just the 4 of them, and just quickly, they got here 3 months before they got here, on the 11th of April 1927. There was such a division here at the kao between the Hahi Mihingare and the Hahi Ratana. 9 people, the local police had to be brought here to charge these 9 people who wanted to take an axe to this whare and chop it in half. And that's how deep the misgiving and the misunderstanding was at the time. But I'll move on from that quickly. In 1927, he came up, it was Mete Kepa and Haimona Kingi with the Apotoros. They took the dad all throughout the whole of Te Hiko o Te Ika. He got into Te Hapua, and I'll leave that kōrero whako Piniaha tomorrow to talk about. But that visit in 1927, then he got to Kahokawa. And they were prevented from moving any further from Kahokawa. Because a lot of the people around here locally, not everybody, had agreed yet for the dad to go up to Te Rerenga Wairua. They thought like this old minister Paki, P-U-C-K-E-Y, is one of the early missionaries in the 1835. They thought that dad was coming up here with an axe to chop the tree down up at Te Tukawa. 1927 is also significant because the temple had been built, but there was no tohu in them yet. When they got to Kahokawa, the dad instructed Piriwiri Tua to go and put a post, and to get a post and to sign on the post, Ratana Hatana, and placed it at Kahokawa. You might be asking why. It shows the significance when the dad finally put the circle inside the temple with the black circle right in the middle, and when he would then koho about ko hatana me ratana he teina he tuakara. 1928, he would then come back again after having opened the temple in January. Then he came here in September. Now, before they left the pā, and I'll quickly close here and leave the rest for tomorrow, he said to the people in the pā, I don't want no māwiwi coming with me. There should be no māwiwi. The scope of that we go to, it's too significant. Well, there was a Kaumatu e na kuia, or should I say a whaena papa by the name of Hineiti Wirihana and Te Aohou Wirihana. They wanted their son Te Rāturoa to travel with them. The dad would say, no, e mawiwiana. Hineiti went back again and then pestered the dad and tautohe the dad and tautohe the dad. So the dad gave in. But he knew. Well, when they finally got here, 179 people signed the kawenata between this marae and Te Hapua. So the dad, everywhere he went, he would not go to a place until the kawenata was signed. A kawenata was signed, and it was finally agreed between these two marae with Mete Kepa and Haimona Kingi. They got to Kahokawa and presented the kawenata to the dad. Unfortunately, that night when they got there, Te Rāturoa passed away. When Te Rāturoa passed away, Hineiti got angry with the dad. And as a mother, she went to him and she just pestered him and said, why did you let me bring him? Why did you let me bring him? The dad was brought under a lot of pressure and criticism. Death. And in those days, at the Māori, they say tapu, if there's a death in the haerenga, that's a big tohu. And so what happened after that was, the dad was walking around on the shoreline, and Te Aohou Wirihana was watching him. And as he was watching him, sorry, I can hear that kettle, I'll leave the rest for tomorrow. And I'll finish the rest of the story tomorrow. If I might have the opportunity to touch and talk on it before we go to Te Rerenga Wairua. And what the dad did was the kapa. And he flicked he flicked a kapa. A penny coin down the hill after they got from Hireki, Waimunguru, Werahi, Haumu, down to a Peru. He's all the names, Maka, you already, you read around the horses with all those places. And then when the flick of the Pakisamo quarters. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Tātou mana te kei ako tau. Wai hoa kona mo tēnei waka kaputi tātou ne. E te kahui, e te kahui, i tine,
Ai.